Ready, kids?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Subject High, the only podcast on the internet with the guests who do. I am your host for this episode and all episodes, uuuuuhhhhhhhh, a bear, and I'm here with today's guest, professional sharkifier and revealer of Ruths, Shade Stuff. And today we will ask him a series of chilling questions that drill down to the dark heart of man. To begin, Shade, how are you today?
I'm good.
Excellent.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, it's off to a phenomenal start.
Perfect start.
Yes. Okay, then let us begin with the actual questions so that we're not wasting people's time with this back and forth. You are a wildly talented artist who is multi-medium. You do animation, you do 3D, you do drawings, and you do color on those drawings.
I'm gonna have to stop you right there. I don't know about the first part, but I do a lot of stuff, I guess.
Yes, you are by definition a Renaissance man.
I don't know what that means. What do you mean?
I had to explain this to Ruby as well. A Renaissance. I'm not. Whatever. Look it up after the show. That's your homework. That's a segment that we're introducing now. Is fucking Hookaloof's homework assignment.
I'll bring that back Tuesday.
Yeah, I should have just left it as at Hookaloof's homework and kept the alliteration, but no, it's Hookaloof's homework assignment. If you don't know what a Renaissance man is, look it up.
Yeah. You've got Google.
Yeah. But before we begin with the actual questions, I want to give some background as to you and how much of a fucking maniac you are. You do all your drawings on your fucking phone, you animal.
Yeah.
With your finger, with your little finger.
Yeah, with my little finger.
Yeah, your little baby drawing finger.
Yeah.
All your drawings?
Yeah.
It's the most insane thing.
I mean, like, unless it's like texturing on like a model, it's fingers. It's on my phone. That's how I learned.
All right. I just had to confront you in audio form just so that you couldn't weasel out of this in the future. It is on record that you do the finger, and that.
Yeah, I do. I don't know if it's called. Say it like that. I don't do finger, but I use my finger. Don't say I do finger.
Okay, you art with finger.
Yeah,
it make your art finger make me have caveman Neanderthal brain. So the fact that you use a finger aside, how did you get your start with all this? We'll pass it over to you, you fucking finger painter extraordinaire.
All right.
How'd you get started?
I can't give you an official date, but it was a good, probably at least 6-7 years ago. There was an app on my phone. I think it was an iPod at that point, called Spray Can. And it was just kind of a basic little doodle app. You know, there's a small like community side to it, but that's where I got my start. And at that point, I've doodled on like pencil paper stuff, but never really anything I'd say is good, even at the time. And I think the first little community I really wedged myself into, like very briefly, was like, like the cats thing that they had, like adventure cats or something.
Warrior cats,
yeah. I didn't get into it so far, but that was what first got me thinking, like, wow, I could have a little character of some kind. So I think it was a dog, and I have no clue where the art is. There's like one picture, but that I didn't enjoy it. I was like, oh, this is weird. But that got me thinking and like into the prospects of like I can make art, because that was the first thing I was pretty proud of.
All right.
And from there it was like the pony stuff, the MLP stuff. That was what actually got me drawing constantly and got me learning. That's where a lot of the style is still from.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting and impressive, because I did not expect warrior cats to pop up.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I didn't even really consider like the cat end. That was just what got me thinking, like, oh, you can make a character.
Now, I do want to circle back real quick. You said that you got started with an app. Was that the first time you had drawn anything? Like anything seriously?
I've doodled like stuff as a kid, and it's just been like the general like, oh, cars, and my parents would think that's like, oh, he draws cars well, it's cute. And it wasn't, I don't think it was anything superb, like nothing's been kept. But in terms of like an actual, you know, routine basis getting good at it, yeah, that's where it started, all from that little app. And that's why I guess I've gotten so accustomed to the finger thing. That's just what I've always known.
Yeah, that is that I'll be honest, that is very impressive. And then the through line so far with the other two folks that I've interviewed has been the My Little Pony fandom as sort of a catalyst for artistic endeavors.
Yeah, I mean that was absolutely. If you go and find that fucking account, it's trash. it's really cringe. It's bad stuff. But that was, you know, that got me into art. That, you know, as weird and cringe as it is, I think every artist has that little phase where they're either really young in the beginning or like, even if they're a bit older, you know, they might not be as confident in their art, but everyone gets over that leap, I guess, and that was mine.
I don't know. I think that's a universal thing, is that the first piece of art that you produce, you will always look back and you will think to yourself, wow, that's an abomination. Why did I even bother? I think that about stuff I drew last year.
No, don't say that.
All right. So let's sort of move on from that natural jumping off point. How did you go from small horse fandom, as Mufus so eloquently put it, and make the leap into HD in full furry reality? How did that come about?
Well, I think it was at the time that I moved on to, I think it was Tumblr, because the spray can app was dying and bad, and I was basically growing out of it. It wasn't that good of an app. But moved on to Tumblr. That was during the heydays, I think. That's when I found Ruby. Okay. Of course, I think it was just his pony account that I found. I was still doing like vor stuff, like his cute little, you know, horse alt of his Sona. And I think that's how I not quite discovered, because I've known about furry stuff, but that's when I started to get into it. Like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. I was starting to grow out of the pony stuff, and I think just on a whim, that's when Ruth came around.
Okay.
Because I wanted to make, you know, well, let's try something anthro. I think I've dabbled in like anthro pony stuff, but it didn't work like at all. It was really bad. So something non-horse worked a lot better. Excellent. And yeah. All
right. And now you are unique. You are an anomaly on this show thus far, because you are a multimedia artist. So I'm going to ask you the same question again, but this time focused on 3D stuff. How did you get your start with modeling?
That was, again, that was kind of a spontaneous, like, well, I don't know how well I'm going to have a career with this stuff, you know, with 2D stuff. And I was thinking about, well, if I want to do game things, maybe. Of course, that's the usual go-to for most guys, like, oh, I want to make video games. But I think I just started looking at Blender and seeing, wow, that's pretty cool. I can make like whatever I want. I forget exactly what the first few projects were in it, but it turned out to just be a few years of using it, getting used to the program. I didn't really make anything specific, just learning the tools. And really, it hasn't been until recent that I've really been starting to remake the characters in 3D.
That is very interesting to sort of see the genesis of all that. And I know that your process with 3D is something that I find interesting, because I've followed it sort of consistently since we became friends a few years ago. And I don't know how common this is, but you have the tendency, and I'm not trying to call you out or anything, I'm just highlighting what I know of your process. You have the tendency to remake models that you've already finished using the knowledge that you gain from finishing them.
Yeah.
And this is in reference to the fact that I know that you've made your Ruth model like 7 times.
I think 5 or 6. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, that's very impressive to me, because I could not imagine. It's a very different thing, drawing and 3D modeling. Obviously, they're two totally different mediums, but I could not imagine necessarily taking a drawing that I'd done and then redoing that same exact drawing over and over again just because I got better at it?
Well, a lot of it was learning new tools, you know, in Blender, and kind of similarly to how you draw, and then some of your older stuff you look back and go like, oh, that's not, I don't like looking at it, it's gross. You know, as you, especially in the 3D environment, there's a lot more tools and like mechanics that you can learn to make more refined models. So instead of going back and like kind of reworking and tweaking the old ones, I just figured, you know, some of these tools are so like huge just in terms of how much detail you can get, like normal mapping. Like that's really, really important for any kind of more realistic, high quality model that you can't really go back and just plop that onto an old model. You got to redo it. And again, it's just in terms of, you know, looking at old stuff, like I can do better than that. So I just redo it.
I think that's a very important driving factor, is that sort of grit and determination of, you know, once you learn how to do something better, going and applying that. Though I imagine that's significantly different for 3D than it is compared to 2D art.
Oh yeah, it's way more integral to 3D stuff. Like especially even if I learn a new program, I'm definitely gonna have to rebuild in that. Yeah.
So let me go ahead and just sort of poke your brain here. Which do you prefer, 3D or 2D art?
It flops back and forth. I think usually 2D is my go-to, just because it's more natural. In 3D, it's a lot more work. It's you definitely have to really sit on the project for months to get it done, depending on a little bit. Yeah, I think 2D is my favorite, but 3D it's just more. There's more reward to it in the end, I think, because it's also something you can go back and go like, ooh, I made an asset that you can use. You know, you can make other things with it. Yeah, ass.
Yeah, you do not just do sexy shark models. You recently had some success modeling a hat.
I did. Yeah, my first mod of a game was a little cowboy hat. And that was with Blender. I don't think without the few years of, you know, messing with Blender, just learning it, I wouldn't have been able to do that.
That's the hat that years of pornography built.
Yeah, it's it's built on a foundation of lewd, but it's there, and it's not lewd, and it's on the Steam Workshop for one of my favorite games. But I don't want to get too much into that. I'll link the worlds. It'll be scary.
Well, we'll save that for later if you want to show your cowboy hat.
We'll spare that community.
Yeah, for now. But just know, community for this game, I'm coming for you.
We're coming.
Yeah.
One day.
So you have not recently, but sort of semi-recently, just in the grand scheme of things, recently as far as geologic time goes, open for commissions.
Yes.
And one of the things that you do commissions of are like character-based internals.
Yeah.
Modeled in 3D.
Yes.
That is particularly interesting, and I think that is a good frame of reference for the idea of how long does that take you, because the idea of a full 3D model, that is obviously like days or weeks of work, but a more self-contained sort of piece of the insides of characters, how long would you say that one of those takes you from start to finish?
Well, it's definitely something when I was thinking about, like, I need to get back into commissioning, because it's something I flopped on and off about. But I was just thinking about what can I do that's a bit simpler? You know, that, of course, like you said, it doesn't necessitate like days and days of solid work. So I just kind of goofed around in Blender for a bit, and I didn't expect to do a 3D commission. But that turned out to be, I made Ruth's first, just as like a goofy, like, see if this would work kind of thing. And I think it worked pretty well, just in terms of like it's just a sculpture. It's just a sculpture that has rigging attached to it and a few lights in the middle, and just to very casually simulate that kind of effect. But because of the shading of it, because it's in a non-cycles environment, it can be rendered really fast. Because usually in like cycles or in like more the usual rendering systems I use, it takes like probably days worth. If I'm like in the long run, when I plan on doing more full length like proper animations with the models I make, that'll take probably weeks to get an animation out. But with this, I can do it overnight, at least the rendering part, and then creation, like a day straight. Of course, I chop it up.
That is fascinating, because rendering is not something that you need to really take into account with 2D stuff. Sometimes with animations, but just a flat drawing, you don't really need to dedicate any sort of amount of processing power to it. But I think that's fascinating and really, really cool. So with all the neat technical mumbo jumbo out of the way that I find absolutely fascinating and very, very cool, my question comes to the name of this podcast, which of course is Subject High, and is in reference to the fact that furries on the internet talk to people, and they sometimes do so in less than socially amicable ways. Have you had any interactions with awkward fans of any sort? And of course, we're not here to bully. Everybody has had their own moments of sort of being weird about people and creators that they like, myself included.
I kind of expected this question beforehand, and I was thinking about it. Not really. Like there's been the usual like, hey, DMs, and that's always awkward to respond to, but nothing super stood out. I think that's because I limit myself a lot in terms of what avenues there are for that.
All right.
So I've got Discord, that's obviously people can message me there, but in terms of the more bigger communities that you'd expect, like FA, I don't have FA. I don't know what the whole notes thing is about. I mean, I have an FA, but it's not, I don't use it. There's like one picture. It was like a gift art, which I love, but I just haven't, I don't know. I never quite liked that format, I guess, just because I work off mobile, probably.
Yeah, and Lord knows that they recently. Hey, here's a fun thing. Let's date this episode. They recently changed how FA looks, and it has garnered. Yeah, it has garnered some criticism from people who care.
You know what? I kind of like it.
You like the change?
Yeah, I like it. Looks modernized. I mean, again, I haven't been using it, so when I go and look at it, it's like, oh, look, it updated. It's smoother now, so I think it's fine. But then again, I'm not really in the guts of it. I haven't been working on the account or like really using it, so take it
ultimately. Yeah, I think it's fine. FA has its problems, but the graphical side of things is not the big problem. But it is of no concern, because you are a Tumblr boy until Tumblr was strangled to death by the cruel, unfeeling hands of Yahoo.com.
Till it was bludgeoned.
Yeah. Bludgeoned and then sold for scrap.
Yeah.
Which is something I will die mad about.
It was nice. I do look back on it fondly, but I'm kind of glad that it's dead. Obviously it's not dead, but I'm glad it's dead for me, because it was about time that I at least explore some more mainstream venues.
That makes sense. Time to roll.
At the time, that was the only account that I had, or like website that I was really using.
Though, speaking of your time there and your time now on other websites, I was curious about what some of your earliest influences were in the sort of art production community. Who inspired you when you were getting your start?
Well, before even like the first drawing app thing, I was kind of like looking at Vor stuff and thinking, oh, that's neat. And I think it was Reina Ayami or something like that. It's been a long time. I know it's probably one of the like older precursor artists.
Did you say Rei Ayanami from Evangelion?
No, not that one. No,
Okay.
It's like Reina something. I feel bad because I should know it, but
Rena Ayama.
Yeah. There's like a white fox. There's like a red one too.
Okay, that is wildly different than Rei Ayanami, the anime girl.
Yeah, I couldn't say that they were really an inspiration.
Yeah, good. You should stay away from Rei Ayanami's Vor gallery. That's inappropriate.
No, I don't want to be there.
No, nobody wants to be there. She's a teenager. She should leave.
Yeah. It's a good anime though.
It is a good anime. We won't talk. Well, all right. We're gonna save this for the anime podcast. I'm inevitably going to start.
Yeah, we'll have a fancy little discussion.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a quick derail because since you didn't have any sort of awkward interactions, I'm going to go into one of mine because I made this fucking podcast. And I'm like, ooh, I bet everyone's going to have all sorts of hot, juicy gossip.
You've been disappointed.
To go into. And no, everyone's been super kind, and all I have is good, positive stories.
Oh,
but
actually,
I want the hot goss.
Well, really, one of the only stories I could think of that didn't really fit was someone, one of the random messages I got once that you'd expect to be like awful. They're good friends with me now. It just depends on how you play it afterwards. You gotta I don't know, not just say hi. It started with a hi, but it quickly devolved into normalcy. So
yeah, I mean that's the thing is that you can send a subject hi message, but you gotta sort of play tennis with the conversation. When somebody hits you the ball back, you gotta hit it back to them.
Exactly.
Not just hi. Do you have Discord? I don't want to give that to you.
Yeah, but do go on. You got some stories?
When we're gonna reveal a little bit about myself. I'm hijacking your episode, and now it's about me. And we're gonna call it. Yeah, this is a segment. In case anybody is kind and positive like you are, I'm gonna pull it back, and I'm gonna be a negative Nancy.
Go for it, man.
When I was first getting involved with nasty vor kink stuff, I dipped my toe into Ika's portal, and that website is bad. And I didn't realize. I mean, the website is fine in concept. It's the things that it hosts that I don't like. And I remember that I popped my head into one of the chat rooms there, and there was one person there, and they were immediately very hyper aggressive with me. And I looked into their profile, their character, just to say like, hey, what's up with this dude? It was a fucking Rei Ayanami Vor account.
No,
and I at the time didn't know I at the time didn't know who that character was until years later when I went to watch Evangelion, and I had this moment of sort of brutal clarity. So Rei Ayanami's Vor gallery does exist, and I hate them.
So I gave you a bit of a horrible war flashback there.
Yeah, I genuinely forgot about that experience. So thank you for.
You're welcome.
Anyway,
now the world knows.
Yeah. So hopefully, whoever has that account, if you're listening to this, fuck you.
I do have two more structural influences though.
Yes, please give them to me. Let's get this podcast back on the rails.
Yeah, just in terms of like style. There was back on the first app, I think Spray Can. Yeah, there was a pony artist named. Oh, it was one of the many Doctor Who's,
Oh yeah.
But it was one of the better ones, at least I thought at the time. And the way that they drew the snouts, especially like the male characters, that is stuck with that. I copied that. I got inspiration from that. I was like, oh, boxy. That stuck with me. That's where Ruth got her. That's where everyone pretty much who I draw has their facial style.
Now you say copied, and that is, I don't know, probably strictly true in a sense, but
yeah,
I would like to take a quick segue and say that there is no such thing really as copying someone's style. There is at the start, but you will eventually take that and absolutely adapt it into your own thing.
That's just a small segment of like how I got to get used to drawing like recognizable solid shapes for like a head or like the hands. And moving on to hands, that's where I learned to do hands from Ruby. At least the chunkier style. Like yeah.
I will also go out on a limb and I will say that even tracing art is not on the face of it bad. No, it's when you try to pass that off as your own.
If you're claiming it's yours and saying, look what I made, and it's clearly like from a pose you found. Well, actually, I'd even say if it's from a pose, like you go on like Google like a reference, like, oh, I need like a sitting reference. As long as you don't trace it line to line, but you look at it back and forth, that's fine. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Besides, if you're drawing most everything except for like one aspect, people will be able to tell.
Yeah.
And you're not doing yourself any favors if you're just passing someone else's art off as your own. Nope. But there's nothing wrong with, as you're getting started, or even as you're a developed artist, there's nothing wrong with occasionally tracing someone's stuff just to sort of see how it feels in your hand.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I didn't trace, but like in the terms of like...
Oh, yeah. Not accusing you of that.
Yeah. How am I going to draw a snout? Like, I always just kind of make like a little lump, and it didn't really work. But yeah, I can make it a square. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Same with the hands. They're also squares.
Hell yeah. Just a big boxy friend.
Turns out a lot of anatomy is just squares, which I'm glad with.
You would say that, you fucking modeler. I bet you.
Yeah, technically.
I bet your fucking models start with a big square.
Yeah, they are. They are all squares. I just round them out.
Yeah. Chiseling away at it like a big marble thing from SpongeBob.
Dink.
You give it one little click and out pops a horny shark. Just kidding. It's harder than that.
It just keeps getting hornier every time, too.
Yeah, every click makes the square hornier.
It's the horny button.
You mean the left mouse button? Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so those are your you mentioned Renayama, this Dr. Hooves drawer on the Spray Can community app.
Yeah, the Spray Can?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Ruby Snoot. Mm-hmm. Who has been a bizarre through line in all of this, but I guess that makes sense.
That's we all go back to Ruby.
Yeah. Ruby is the progenitor.
Yeah.
Okay, so generator Ruby aside, was there anyone else of note that you wanted to mention?
Oh, I mean, there's more recently, once I got developed into my own little comfortable style, there's just, the normal popular artists that everyone usually, like, I love Shy Guy 9. They're absolutely incredible. I love how they've refined their style to the point where it's just a doodle to them, but it's so specific and unique. It's incredible. Mm-hmm. So that's, at least, I don't know if it's really an inspiration, but it's like I look up to them. Definitely.
Are you opening a candy bar right now?
Oh, no. Sorry, I didn't think I would pick up. That's just some wrapper from a lollipop that was on my table.
All right.
Because I'm a dirty, dirty man. I leave my trash everywhere. I didn't think you'd pick it up. I was wandering into abstract appreciation. I was just crinkling my...
Oh God! It's like audio hell. Stop.
Okay, that's gone. It's gone.
No, just kidding. I'm gonna pause stretch it.
Oh God! Don't do that.
It's gonna last the entire podcast and be in the background.
Some reverb.
Yeah,
I briefly used Audacity, so I kind of know what that means.
Gotcha.
Which scares me.
I'm gonna actually turn it over to Blue, my editor, to just sort of take any crinkles that you hear and feel free to do what you want with them. You could put them in a vocoder.
Yeah.
Surprise me. Have fun with it. Have fun with it. Have fun with it. Have fun with it. Have fun with it.
Shit.
Surprise me. Crinkles aside, and wonderful artists with unique, refined style, who I would love to have on the show as well. What about in general media? Is there any sort of show or movie that has inspired you? Maybe not in a necessarily artistic way, but just sort of in a, you make stuff, you create stuff. What drives you? What keeps you moving from sort of bigger budget productions?
I don't quite know.
Okay.
I mean, maybe in terms of like looking at it and going, "Ooh, that's neat." I want to kind of get that. I want to kind of like make stuff like that. You know, maybe even Halo. Just in terms of not like I want to make video games, but like in terms of the universe, it's pretty cool.
Hey, that is a perfectly valid influence, and I bet that's an influence for many a person.
Yeah.
Though that aside, I guess the sort of only last formal question that I have for you is, do you have any neat stories about cool things that have happened to you as a result of your participation in this or other fandoms, as it were?
Oh gosh. Well, mostly in the furry stuff, I'd say really just meeting people. Like especially, you know, our little gang of pals, you know, Ruby, you obviously, you're really fucking cool.
Aww.
Let me just drizzle you with sugar.
Yes. It's my podcast and I deserve all the praise.
But yeah, that's a lot of it is just the community. You know, meeting, obviously I've got to know Shy Guy pretty well. I mean, sounds weird, but you know, some of the favorite people in the community that I've actually gotten to talk to and just like get to know.
Yeah. I think that's a wildly cool thing about sort of the furry fandom, as it were, is that it is the coolest people that you look at can easily become your very, very good friends.
Yeah.
And all it takes,
and like,
you know,
we've even like, you guys like brought me out to my first con too.
Yeah, that was my first con too.
Yeah, that was probably the best time I've had in a long time, just getting to actually meet my friends.
Aw.
That's really cool.
It was a delight and a pleasure to get to meet you too. You're a super swell fella.
Oh heck.
And we're gonna do it again.
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully this coming one I should be able to go to.
Yeah, we're gonna party it up. So stay tuned for me and Shade in our close-up magic team group, where we will do close-up magic for you on stage.
Yeah, I'll make Hookaloof disappear.
Oh, that has big horny energy to it. We're gonna we're gonna move away or move right on real quick.
Scoot along
because I'm getting the vapors.
Mm-hmm.
No, don't. Bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You sit there in silence while I read the next part of the script.
Give me the next bit. Come on.
Fuck. That's all I had.
Shit.
I just scrolled down to the bottom of my Google document of loosely formed questions that I started editing when I called you and started recording. And the last word I have on this document, I swear on my life, is just the word big.
What's that mean?
I think it was the last two questions that I had on here were biggest influences in media and biggest influences in the fandom. And then on another separate page, there's just the word big. So I guess I'll pose that question to you. Shade stuff.
Yeah.
Big. You've heard it here, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Take that soundbite.
Yeah. Shade, do you have any sort of shout outs or anything that you would like to give in these waning moments of podcast?
Oh God, it's ending? Already? Oh shit.
It's been like fucking half an hour, my dude.
Oh. Damn. Okay. I don't want to just link myself. What?
No, that's fine. That's what I meant, but you're the first person who's taken it that way. That's fine.
I can't just link myself. That's weird.
Yeah, when I said that to Mufus, he said Jesus. He wanted to thank the big J-Man, but you are clearly
God.
Yeah. Give me your links. Give me your name. Where we can find you, where we can appreciate your goodness.
Mostly just Twitter. I'm Shark Stuff NSA for work. Just the little 4-letter bit there.
Yeah, Shark Stuff NSFW.
Yeah, I'm also on FA, but it's not really. There's nothing there. It's just that one nice picture I got.
Don't go there. Don't go to the.
It's
FA.
yucky. Also, don't ever search any of the old stuff ever. Don't find that app. It's bad. I'll curse you.
I'm almost certain that
1,000
app
years
is now defunct.
It's probably is gone. Tumblr's still there.
Tumblr's
that's
yeah, but
probably still there.
Your shit's almost certainly banned?
I don't know. The account I think is still alive. It's just not accessible. Maybe you can access it. Go ahead, do a little dig. See if you can find it.
You're sending mixed messages.
Yeah.
All right. I am, of course, Hookaloof. You know me. You probably found this podcast through me or my subsidiaries. Mm-hmm. I'm at Hookyloof on Twitter. I'm _Hookaloof on Fur Affinity. I do use it. Anywhere else? I do upload to other places, but they're mostly just through Postyburb, and I don't like interacting on them. My Tumblr's defunct. Don't go there. I don't post there anymore.
It's all defunct.
What else? I just recently started doing an audience-driven quest sort of thing. At DoQuest on Twitter.com. I think that's spelled bad because I think at DoQuest was taken. I think it's at Do, DOE, and then KWEST. Is that it? No, it's Do_Quest. So okay. Go check that out. Assuming that in like 2 or 4 weeks or whenever this goes up, whenever the fuck this goes up, assuming that is still running, go there and interact with it, and I'll draw some cute deer girl eating people eventually. I promise.
Hell yeah, that's the good stuff.
Yeah. Other than that, don't forget my editor Huckleberry Blue, who is an incredible friend and an audio wizard. He is a level 50 audiomancer, and he has spells.
Yeah, who's the best?
Yeah. He is phenomenal. He is a big horse, and you will love him. So go follow him if you like animations and audio of things. But other than that, this has been Subject High, the only podcast on the internet with the guests who do. And I hope you have a great day.
Woo!